we talking about practice. Not a game, we talking about practice.
Now, back to the After Practice Podcast with Lake Lewis.
Welcome, everyone, to another After Practice Podcast. I appreciate you joining me as always. And we've got a really good show for you today. It's going to be a busy one. I've got some great guests coming on. Former Washington Redskins wide receiver Anthony Armstrong will be joining us. We're also going to have on two gentlemen that I'm very fond of. They've got a great product, Thermopact, the good people from Thermopact, Iron Wildy and Dr. George Garbis are going to actually be coming on. And, I'm really excited about these gentlemen. They've got an innovative mouth guard that's going to really be making waves around the league and around the world of sports. So we're going to have them come on. And then a little bit later on, I'm going to have another surprising guest coming up as well. We'll introduce him a little bit later on. But let's get right into it. I was at the Combine last week and there was a lot of good stories there, a lot of good things going on. And, so we're going to talk about all those things and putting the glasses back on right now. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to break down some Combine stuff. And when I have my guest on later, we'll talk about what he and I saw at the Combines because we were both standing right there. So before we do that, I'm going to bring in some of our guests on today's program. Really excited about having these gentlemen join us. Bringing in Anthony Armstrong, also Dr. George Garbis, and then another really good guest, good friend of mine. We call him V. We have him coming on with us as well. Wildy, what's going on, Anthony? What's up with you, my friend?
Man, I am doing good. I'm getting my setup back right over here. It's been my kids messed it up. So
well, I'm a little disappointed today because normally I have this on my 4K setup, and for whatever reason, maybe because I'm logging all you guys in today, I had some issues, so I had to go to the backup computer. So hopefully it still looks okay, but you know how.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right, and here's Dr. George Garbis. What's going on, Doctor?
How we doing?
I'm good.
I'm living life, loving it.
And there's
to be a Commanders fan today.
Absolutely. And there's our good friend right there. V, what's going on, man?
What's up, Blake? How you doing? Thanks again for inviting us.
Oh, no worries at all. And you guys can see Anthony up in there and longtime Redskin. So Anthony, let me just tell you right now, Dr. G right here, Dr. Garbis is a huge Redskins now Commanders fan. He was a big fan of yours. So
40 years. 40 years.
I love the commitment. I love it takes heart. It takes heart to be around.
It does. And patience too.
Absolutely. It all pays off. It'll pay off in the end, though. I think it's coming soon.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you, Anthony, before we get into our football stuff, what kind of mouth guard did you wear when you played? Was there anything in particular or anything special?
Man, I think the most technology that it had was that you put it in to boil it, and then it was done in about 15 seconds. Like we didn't have it. I didn't wear anything too fancy. And then later on, I tried the pacifier one for a little bit, and that was okay. Yeah. But frankly, I mean, I hate to say it, Doc. A lot of times I didn't wear a mouthpiece. I didn't always wear one.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, it just eventually it ends up being. It felt easier at the time, but probably isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, these guys have something that obviously sponsor one of the sponsors of the program, and definitely want to get them working with you, Anthony. I mean, this thing is lights out, and it changes colors, turns red. Shows you your body temperature, and it also has basically the same technology. And correct me, guys, if I'm wrong, but this is what I've been telling people. But it's got technology too that you have in like Nike. The air shocks and things like that, as far as helping prevent concussions as well. So I tell people you're getting 2 for 1 with this mouth guard.
Yeah.
I think if Anthony, if we had our mouth shield when you were playing, I'm pretty sure you'd want to play because before George chimes in, one of the things that we've gotten some feedback on from all these NCAA players that we've been fitting lately is it's the most comfortable mouth guard they've ever had in their mouth. And that's just the part. That's just the key part of it. That's just the easy part. The cool part is our technology.
See,
I mean, one of the things that not to correct, I'm not correcting anything because everything you're saying is absolutely on point. But we really want to make sure that the one thing is that it's an indicator, right? So it's not a medical device. It's not something that, we're going to hang our hat on, but it's just another tool, sort of like a check engine light. You're out on the field, it's hot. If you go on the website, there are these three pictures that kind of show you the different colors of where you are or where your temperature might be. And if the trainer, coach, or another athlete sees it, hey, you know, let's go get you checked out. Let's get you with the thermometer. Let's make sure you're cooling off. It's really meant to keep you on the field, right?
Yeah.
Instead of getting to a point where you're cramping up or, you got to spend 3 or 4 days out because you've got a heat related illness. On the other side of it, with the whole concussion piece, look, we're never going to be able to eliminate concussions in any context. We're never going to be able to eliminate them, no matter what we do. We hit hard, we play hard. It's just very difficult, but we can do everything we can to minimize what's going on. And the technology we have in there is called D3O, and it's very absorbent. We've had it tested out in Canada with a ballistics company. And it's tested against a lot of the over-the-counter ones that I won't mention at this time, but and it's done very well. It's done very, very well in terms of how much it absorbs. But we love it. I'm very excited. I'm excited for the excitement. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And we really want to make a difference out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely wanted to, get you guys on, obviously so we can talk some football as well. And, I just got back from the combine, was there all last week. And, Anthony, I got to throw this out at you, man. He says he was the fastest player when he was here. I know he was one of the fastest players here. It's a little inside joke.
I remember watching him.
But
I definitely had the speed.
Yeah, but I say this, all these guys were pulling 4.4s. Like it was
crazy.
Safeties, corners, receivers, running backs, they all were running 4.4s.
Yeah.
Is that a sign of just evolution, man? Guys getting bigger, stronger, faster, more, obviously working with speed coaches and things like that. Were you surprised?
Sure.
Were you surprised with this?
I mean, I think it's the natural trend that people are going to be bigger, faster, stronger. 4.4 used to be like the litmus test. Like if you ran 4.4, you were fast.
You were fast, right?
And then 4.3 and then 4.2 and beyond. Now it's like low 4.4, high 4.3 is common. And they're getting bigger. That's the scariest part. I'm like, what are you big old Mack trucks running that fast? That's the part that gets scary. Like you're not supposed to be 240, 250 moving that fast.
Exactly.
But I mean, I do think it does come with the earlier training, lifting more weights, just being in it more physically at an earlier age. Yeah, but some folks are naturally fast, like Xavier Worthy. That guy he can fly because you see he's just very slight built guy. He's gonna be able to run fast regardless. He's like kind of like Deshaun Jackson. It's always gonna be slim, but always gonna be able to run fast.
And see, and V, you're a coach. I mean, you deal with these kind of guys, speed training and all that stuff. Is this just something you see guys just walk out there and they're just naturally fast, or do you really work with their technique to get them to where they need to be?
Well, that it's crazy how these athletes, I wish I had myself when I was in high school and college, because these guys, they're putting in the work. I mean, it's not even college anymore. It's like these high school kids, I'm not saying high school, Pop Warner kids are putting in work, wanting to be faster. And as a speed movement guy, all I'm trying to do is get their body moving the correct way. And once you correct that, tends to come off. And you saw those guys. The first one was 4.22 or 4.23. Next was 4.22. All he did was make one little small correction and go 1/10 faster. So yeah, and like Anthony was saying, these guys are strong. If you have strength, you're going to be fast if you already have that quick twitch in your body.
Yeah, when you look at Xavier Worthy, I mean, could there be a player that helped himself any more than him? I mean, he was already a dynamic player at Texas, but I liken him now. You look at his route running; he runs great routes. He's a big play guy. He kind of reminds me of a faster version of Zay Flowers, for the Ravens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
considering the success Zay Flowers had last year in his rookie season, I think Xavier Worthy, is it safe to say that he could have ran himself into the first round?
Oh, I think 100%. I think 100%. I mean, if Al Davis was around, he'd probably be a Raider.
Number one pick.
But Mark Davis is still there, and that could still very well happen. But I mean, if you want to add instant big play capabilities and just instant offense, you throw somebody out there with some speed. I mean, you see how Jameson Williams is starting to impact that Detroit offense. We'll see how far they go down the field, but Xavier Worthy can bring that flash to a team right away.
Look, guys,
do you think his size is an issue?
I think
Just
that.
Not being, I mean,
I don't think so.
Especially in today's world, you don't think so? Yeah.
No, not anymore.
I'd take him. I mean, there's no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see certain teams, like if you're going to play for Kyle Shanahan, you're going to have to block, and his frame will show up when you're not getting in there blocking. But if you find your way to Miami, God forbid, that's some fast receivers. If you find your way in Miami,
just threw something out there. You know that, right?
Oh, I already know. Mike McDaniel's like, really?
And he was sitting right there, by the way, at Lucas Oil. Yeah.
See, so he's already there, right? So, I mean, the frame doesn't make a big deal. The way that you get them open is what's going to be makes it most important.
Right.
Yeah,
so you probably see him in a more passing offense than a running offense, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, but Anthony, he's in Texas, in Dallas, and Cowboys are the type of team that I could see these kids, Texas player, I could see something like that happening. God forbid, because that would be pretty lethal for the Cowboys.
Yeah. But you look at the receivers too, but look at the DBs. These dudes running just as fast as they.
They just can't catch. I mean, that's the only reason they're running over there, because they couldn't catch. But you get the thing that really stood out to me was it wasn't just the Worthies of the world who are smaller. I think he's 165. But you had some guys. I mean, you look at A.D. Mitchell from Texas, his teammate.
Yeah,
this guy's 6'2.5", 6'3", 225, and he ran a 4.4. And I'm just like, what is this? I actually got bored watching these 4.4s sitting there. I was like, is that all you have, man? You got to give me something more than
slow.
That. Yeah, but and I got to bring this up, guys, because you see what's over there. You already know it. We are, but I have to say, when Chalk Robinson ran that 4.4, that was freaky. And inside the stadium, we're not allowed to see the times, so we don't know what those times are. We just know we see guys booking down 40 yards. So when Chalk Robinson ran, I literally turned to who's coming up a little bit later on the show tonight, Courtlandt, a great scout. I literally turned to him, and he had his stopwatch, and he said he ran a 4.4, and I said, there's no way, but he was moving. And then I tweeted out to fans, what did you see on TV? What's the time? And it was like 4.49. I'm just like, that's an
crazy
rusher doing that, and he's already twitching.
Can I throw a shout out though?
Yeah.
Can I throw a shout out that he's a Moco boy?
Yeah.
He's a Montgomery County boy back in our world.
So listen,
Prince Orchard High School.
If you're the Commanders, those are the type of guys but he's not falling to the second round. He ran himself well into the first round. But I'm going to throw this name at you guys. And folks, 3 outstanding guests right now here on the After Practice podcast. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, just because, I mean, they're my friends, but I want them to introduce themselves and also plug their social media before I get to our next question. So Anthony, you go ahead and fire away first.
Yes, indeed. What's up? Anthony Armstrong, former Washington receiver, number 13, the original 1-3 at Rated Armstrong. That's I've changed it all now. So it's at Rated Armstrong. Catch me over there on Twitter, on X, and the host of the Believe in Commanders podcast as well. Lake's been over there on there as well. So shout out to them. Appreciate y'all having me.
All right, Dr. G, you got it.
Dr. George Garbis, dentist, father, and coach for 20 years, inventor of Thermopact mouthshield. That's the thermopact.com, at Thermopact for Instagram. And we're really looking forward to this relationship.
Absolutely. And then V, you're up.
Byron Wildy from Maryland, but out here in lovely LA right now with Thermopact, one of the co-inventors. George and I have been friends for over 30 years. That's how we started this whole thing. And like he said, at Thermopact, thermopact.com. Thanks for having us on, Lake.
No worries, guys. And I love bring on family, and all you guys are family. Anthony and me, we go back, man. We used to host a show together. We would go out and about around, Loudoun County, and had great crowds. And we talked about everything on those shows, from music to sneakers to, well, we would say women, but he's married. I'm close to being, so
It's okay.
can't do that anymore. But
No.
we had great times on those shows. So I did want to ask you guys, as far as just from what I saw sitting there, were there any players that jumped out to you, from watching them from afar? Because I'll throw a name out there that really jumped out in person was JJ McCarthy. He wowed me. He really did. He showed me things that obviously Jim Harbaugh didn't have him doing at Michigan, but he kind of proved during the combines he's got a big arm and he's got accuracy. So maybe he played himself perhaps into the top 10 of the draft with his performance. So did any other guys jump out at you?
I think Joe Milton has a rocket cannon arm.
Oh my God.
And it's like, man, it's like, okay, we know you got a big arm, and you got to start, I want to see the timing. I want to see the things happen in rhythm, but you got to be impressed with the fact that he could throw the ball, 70 yards or whatever it was. He had to wait
and
for the
didn't
receiver
wind
to
it
run.
up either. He just took one step and boom, the ball was in the air, literally 70 yards. One time it looked like it was close to 80, and that's scary, man. It really is.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, shoot, put him in for a last second Hail Mary if you happen to draft him. But that's something that you can't coach that.
Mm-hmm.
Having that arm talent makes you extremely special. Now you just have to start having that timing, come into play when you get into the league, when the windows get smaller.
Exactly. Gentlemen, any guys jump off?
Now, I hope you guys don't get upset, but I'm a very defensive person. And the person that really stood out for me was Dallas Turner.
Oh,
4.47 edge runner.
Yeah.
That this guy, you don't hear a lot about defensive players in while you're watching college football. And you get a lot of offense. But then you see these guys come out in the combine, and that he is going to be a force out of Alabama.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you something that's really scary right now. That young kid, it's just, I remember when he was born, and now he's just, like, my gosh, bro, what are you feeding him, man?
Who, me?
Yeah, I'm just like,
man, these kids are big, man. We up to number 4 now. Like, we got a girl.
Yeah.
And that's gonna keep me working forever. It's gonna keep me working forever. We actually about to have to run to an open house, and that's what he was in there telling me.
Okay.
Hey, Dan, we
gotta
go to
this open house.
So yeah, we have about 6 minutes, and I got you guys out. V, anybody jump out to you?
You know what? I actually, when I watched the combine, I don't remember names, but I couldn't believe. Again, you can see I'm a defensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
Those DBs were crazy.
Yeah.
Those DBs, because back in the day when you used to watch the DB drills, you would see a lot of guys that couldn't flip their hips.
Mm-hmm.
Man, these guys, not only are they fast, but they're taller.
They're big.
And they've got great feet. Great feet. I can't remember the guy's name. I think he's from Alabama, DB. He was just, everything just looked so fluid from his back pedal to his break.
Probably
not
Dallas.
Not McKenzie. I think he's talking about Xavier. He's the McAllister, McKenzie. He's
yes. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's
McAllister or McKinstry, one of the two.
Yeah, he's
one of the two.
So he's considered the top corner, and he's a guy that people are expecting to have kind of like a Sauce Gardner type of a impact right away. So
yeah. So what you didn't see, Lake, because you were at the combine, they actually had Sauce and this guy. They showed their 40s together, and Sauce is fast, but this dude must have been probably 2 or 3 strides ahead of him.
Oh my God! Yeah, see these guys.
It was crazy. Just
they're just
striding it out.
athletes. They're just stone cold killers. They're athletes now, and that's the way it goes. So look, Ant, if you have to get out, totally
Yeah.
understand, because I
I'm
know
gonna
Jessica
slide.
will get you if you don't.
But I'm gonna talk to y'all. I'm gonna talk to y'all about the Thermopact. I'm gonna go check out the website. So, well, you said
Yeah,
We'll make sure we
thermopact.com,
send
right?
you a few.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We'll make sure we
thermopact.com.
send you a few.
Already.
Because
All
you
right.
down there in
Thank you,
Texas,
Anthony.
we know it's hot down there.
Yes, that was a question I had because it gets hot in summer camp. So it'd be interested to see if you just wear it to get an idea about player
Yes,
health.
sir. And the youth one's coming out too.
All right, perfect.
Awesome.
Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
All right, I'll
All
see y'all
right.
later.
Appreciate you, little
Good
bro.
luck.
It was a pleasure.
All right, 1-3.
All right, man. See you, George. See you.
All right.
It was a pleasure.
Tell Jess I said what's up, man. All right. So yeah, guys,
That's awesome.
this is what we do, man. We bring great people together, and you guys are just outstanding. And I got so many compliments. And then my good friend Bobby McCray just started, McCray Sports. Uh,
Mhm.
we talked with him today. He's getting you guys a video. He's happy to be working with you guys and do some
Awesome.
stuff for you as well. So this is what we do, man. And
Thank you.
I want to invite you
Very.
guys on as many times as possible to
Thank
come
you.
on here, talk about the product, and
Say
then
the
also
word.
just chop it up, talk sports. So I'm gonna put you two on the spot. And V, I know
Okay.
you're not technically a Commanders fan. I understand. We won't say
But I know the
we won't-
team though very well.
right, but we won't say who you are a fan of for this format. But with that said,
No, I think you'd lose your internet connection immediately.
lose half the fan base. But with that said, I do want to ask both you guys for your teams, and I'm just going to sit back. I'm not throwing anything out. I'm asking you.
I'll let George go first. He's
Okay.
a home guy.
What was the
So
question?
what the question is, what direction would you like to see the Commanders go with their number 2 pick? Do you want to trade it up for Caleb? Do you want to stand pat? Do you want to trade back? Or is there a need that you think that they can solve at number 2?
So I'm on the fence with this, but my gut is telling me to trade down because we need a line. You give any quarterback 4 seconds, any quarterback in the NFL that's worthy of playing in the NFL 4 seconds,
They will
and
be
you're going to have a team. And the other thing is, I would be wearing my 44 jersey on right now, but I wanted to stay a little classy. We need to really develop that running game. We need to develop that running game. Go back to that old school, run it down their throats, and then we got some amazing wide receivers to open it up. So I would not be upset if we traded down. I wouldn't be upset.
Well, one thing I will tell you that should make you feel great is that Coach Anthony Lynn, who I've talked to about coming here, that's his forte. He's a running back specialist. He's everywhere he's been. He's developed great running games, and he's coming from San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey. Before that, Chargers, and they've got a great back as well. So you think of everywhere he's been, he's produced backs. So Brian Robinson should be happy. He may benefit the most from this, Antonio Gibson's of the world. So I understand what you're saying, and I do think a young quarterback's best friend, regardless if it's Sam Howell or if it's Williams, Daniels, or May, whoever it is, a great best friend of a young quarterback is a great running game. And they also filled a void yesterday with the tight end as far as bringing in Zach Ertz.
That was huge.
So
That was
happy.
a great move. He played for Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona, so he knows the system. He's a veteran, and I know he's had some injuries in the later part of his career, but he's still a serviceable guy. And if he is healthy, that's an upgrade for them at that position. So, V, I'm going to put you on the spot for your, I'll say it, for your Cowboys. What do you think?
As we all know, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, but I will tell you this: I know the league, NFC East, every team. So, but in regards to the Cowboys, just watching this year, besides offensive line, I think they need a beast in the middle defensive line. They need somebody to control the run because the offensive line, the Cowboys coaching staff, they do a good job of scheming each week with it they have. But I just think that right now that running game just needs to pick up a little bit. And the running backs are fine. I just think to work on that O line, but D line if they can shut down that run on a consistent basis, they'll go from top 5 or whatever they are to maybe 1 or 2 because they have the coverage. They sit back in coverage. Even I know Zimmer's going to change the scheme this year. I think he's going probably 4-3, maybe a 4-2-5, not sure. But in regards to that scheme, yeah, they should be pretty aggressive on both sides of the ball. But the Cowboys, they just yeah. Well, you know what? They're actually getting a couple of guys back. There's a couple of guys that you guys probably hadn't even heard of that got hurt last year that like backers. They're really good, but we lost them. They lost them. So the Cowboys right now, I think first round, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to go O-line, but I see them going real heavy D-line, D-backs, and tossing some running backs in there too because not sure if Derrick Henry is coming, but that'd be a nice little fit in that backfield back there with Derrick Henry.
Absolutely.
Now you're scaring me.
Yeah,
I'm getting excited.
That would be freaky, or maybe Saquon. I mean,
Hey, hey, listen, I'll take Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs is available. All 3 of those guys would be huge upgrades.
Yeah.
And I think they, clearly last year, Cowboys wouldn't say it, but they definitely missed Zeke. They missed the in between the tackles runs that Tony Pollard is more of a third down specialist guy,
Yeah.
So they missed a lot of that. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
So I've been having this debate with my coaching staff about the running back, how the running back is kind of like not get as much love as they used to. And I brought this to one of my coaches and I said, the running back, in my opinion, I think should be one of the most valued players on the offense because think about this. They're the only ones that carry the ball, catch the ball, and block.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nobody else does all 3.
Absolutely.
No.
So it's like the running back
valued. Yeah, it's been devalued. And I think I can understand maybe the theory, so to speak, the philosophy behind why they're devaluing that position. And it's because the shelf life for a running back is a lot shorter than quarterbacks, wide receivers.
Right.
Offensive linemen play well into their 30s.
Yeah.
So I see the theory in that, but as you said, if you look at what the great running backs do for their offenses and the pressure they take off of everyone, when you need 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 and you've got a great back, teams can't just double team your best receiver or
blitz.
So when you have that kind of back, and especially backs that can catch out the backfield. So
yeah,
I do think the league last year, I saw them getting back to the running backs again. They started to come back because they realized that you need these guys. So hopefully the Saquon Barkleys, the Josh Jacobs of the world, hopefully they can get paid accordingly. And if they go to other teams, shame on the teams that let them go. Shame on the Raiders. Shame on the Titans. Shame on the Giants, because these are phenomenal backs that are difference makers, and let them fall into the hands of the right team. Like if any one of those 3 ends up in Baltimore, there might be a different story this year.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Anthony said it in one of his interviews. Coach Anthony was talking about the running game for the Commanders, and he said, let's not look at the runs and yardage. Let's look at the touches.
They didn't
of the
get
running
it.
back. How many times do they touch the ball?
Right. They didn't get any touches.
Yeah, and the more touches these running backs get, whether it's pass out the screen pass or run the ball or whatever, the better they're going to do, and the better as a whole. I mean, you see it. I don't understand why they keep going away from these and they just try to run and gun. It's not going to work long term.
No, and
in my opinion,
Kingsbury has said that everyone keeps talking about this, air raid offense, and he said, "Look, it's not going to be that. It's definitely going to be different. And you don't hire an Anthony Lynn and not expect to run the football. So I think you will see clear balance with this Washington Commanders offense, which will be a very good thing. So, gentlemen, it's our time. I do have to wrap up this segment, but man, it felt good to have you guys on finally. And
thanks. It was awesome.
Thank you so much.
And greatly appreciate it, man. You guys are helping my program, and hopefully I'm doing the same. And, we're going to do this a lot more. And, you guys are on your way. Let's just put it that way.
Thank you. We're here for you. Let us know
it.
whatever we can do.
Yeah, we appreciate
the love. We do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I will be in
Like,
touch with you guys. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I have Courtlandt Griffin coming on. Does a great job covering the Tennessee Titans, and he's also an upcoming scout with the league. Did a great job in Indianapolis, and I want to bring him on because George, we didn't mention this, but the Commanders have a guy that I know is on their list of potential free agent signings in Aziz Al-Shaair from the Tennessee
Oh,
Titans. And he's a
okay.
linebacker, kind of an edge linebacker, really dynamic.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, had a breakout year last year in Tennessee where Courtlandt covered him. But before that, he played 4 years in San Francisco where Adam Peters was. So
Interesting.
I'm putting those two together. So we'll have Courtlandt come on and we'll break all that stuff down when we
Awesome.
get back here on the After Practice podcast. Appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank
thanks,
you.
Lake.
And welcome back, everyone, to the After Practice podcast. Appreciate our guests for coming on with us. Iron Wildy from Thermopact, Dr. George Garbis from Thermopact, and then, of course, number 13, Anthony Armstrong, former Washington Redskins wide receiver. In a little bit, we're going to be bringing in Courtlandt Griffin, does a great job covering the Tennessee Titans, and also was at the combine with myself, and just a dynamic young guy who knows his stuff, knows every player out there on that field. He broke them all down. That's what he does as far as scouting. So I want to get his thoughts on a player that he covered in Tennessee, because I think that player has an opportunity to literally be a player that, you know, has a chance to potentially join the Washington Commanders. So definitely we'll have him on in a second. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and plug some of the great sponsors who have made this program possible. So appreciate everybody out there. We just had two gentlemen on from Thermopact. So just so you know a little bit more about Thermopact is a mouth shield, and it's the leading heat informed athletic mouth guard that changes colors to warn against potential heat-related injury or illness. You can go to thermopact.com for more information. And then, of course, my better half in all this, Miss Janine Samuels and the good folks over at Sideline Prep. If you're wondering how to become an NFL or an NBA cheerleader, Sideline preps you like a pro. For more information on how to become a potential pro cheerleader in the NFL or the NBA, you can go to sidelineprep.com. And then the good folks over at Chill Skins. Chill Skins is a customized safety cooling towel, and now they have headbands, and there's no refrigeration needed. All you have to do is add water, and it stays cool pretty much all day. I used this thing throughout training camp and during some practices when it was really hot, and it definitely kept me cool. And some of my colleagues who asked for the towel, and I gave it to them. So you can go to chillskins.com for more information there. So let's bring in Courtlandt Griffin. Is a young man, like I said, from does a great job covering the Tennessee Titans, and on top of that, this guy's aspiring to be a scout and knows all the guys that, when we were out there at the combine last week in Indy, this young man knew every player out there. I was getting all my information from him. So promised him that I was going to bring him on the show, get him going. He's just getting in. So we're all good. I see you, Courtlandt. What's going on, my friend? Yeah, take your mute off. There we go. Yeah. So we just.
There we go.
There
we go.
What's going on?
How's it going?
How you doing?
I'm all right, man. Good to see you again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This guy right here, guys, I'm telling you, remember his name. I've already spoken into existence. We talked about it. He was grinding when everyone else was out there trying to get out and go to, let's call it like it is, Courtlandt. People were trying to get out and go out in Indy, go to the clubs.
Oh, yeah.
This guy was staying in lights on, lights off in the stadium. Even I was getting tired, falling asleep there, and he still was stopwatch, still timing guys. Every player that stood up, he knew who they were. So, man, it's good to have you on. It really is. You covered the Tennessee Titans as well. And there's a guy that I really feel like Washington's going to take a look at, a good, hard look at. He's got some history with Adam Peters out in San Francisco, Aziz Al-Shaair. And, can you tell our audience something about him and what kind of football player is this guy?
I mean, he's a guy that if he joins the team, let's just say he signs tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
It's going to be hard. You'll be hard pressed to think that, oh, this guy just signed with this team.
Mhm.
When I met him at training camp last season, it was like, this guy's not just a first year Tennessee Titan. See, it felt like he had been there for the entirety of his career.
Yeah.
Like, he comes in and he takes on the personality of the culture of the team,
Mhm.
and then he also infuses his own attitude and culture into the locker room as well, and it makes him just a great teammate. I mean, this is a guy that as soon as he hit the locker room, you can tell the guys loved playing with him, loved the energy he brought. He's an encourager. He plays with his hair on fire, right, sideline to sideline guy, and he's an encourager. He's gonna and I think the biggest thing. I mean, we could talk football all day long, but I think the best thing that he does is what he does in the community. He's going to adopt that community as his own. He's done a lot for families around the greater Nashville area here, and I can only imagine what he would do in an area like Washington D.C. With all of the charity work and philanthropy that he's been able to accomplish in just such a short career that he's had.
So let me ask you, I mean, would you be surprised if the Titans don't offer him a nice contract to stay? They didn't franchise him or anything like that. So, would you be surprised if he got away from Tennessee, considering he had his breakout year last year with the Titans?
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised. Just for the simple fact, like you said, he had a breakout year. He was one of the few bright spots on the team that didn't have many, right? I mean, Jeffrey Simmons loved him. And it's hard to find a linebacker that plays like that in the NFL today, right? Like, you got a lot of specialty guys, a lot of specialists in the league, but when you find a guy who can play pass coverage, run coverage, who's smart, diagnoses the plays, and then also is an encourager and a captain on the field, almost like an extension of the coach. It's hard to find that guy. So I would be surprised if Tennessee doesn't at least offer him, but would I be surprised if he signs elsewhere because of how big the market is with a couple of the aging defenses around in the needy linebacker needy teams in the NFL? Would I be surprised that if he chose a offer? Not really.
So let me ask you. Let's go back to last week. A lot of guys helped their cause. You look at the kid Worthy from Texas, had that blazing 40 time. Chop Robinson. We were sitting right there together, and I looked at you and said, "There's no way he ran a 4.4," and you had clocked it. And you said he did. So you see those guys, JJ McCarthy, I think helped his cause. Are there any other guys that stood out to you that may have surprised you with how well they performed?
Um, there were a couple of surprises per se.
Mhm.
Um, I will say the way that Max Milton, cornerback out of Rutgers, the way he moved,
Yeah.
for a guy that long, that big, right at the corner position, for him to be so loose in the hips, his back pedal was smooth, the way he tracked the ball. He's a guy that had a lot of production, and he's not afraid to stick his head in at the running game and really get dirty. I feel that that's a guy that's like similar to a guy who's already on the Commanders team and Benjamin St. Juste, right? He was a bigger guy, bigger corner, right, with loose hips, could cover. And a lot of people felt like he was a guy who was in the late rounds and kind of surprised and bloomed in the NFL. But Milton is his brother, Bo Milton, already hit the league and had a pretty good time here. So the athletic prowess in NFL DNA is already there. This is a guy who will come in, I think, and be an immediate producer at the next level. I will say this: Bub Means. Keep that name in mind.
He moved
Bub
well in his
Means.
40 time. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, I tied him. Hand tied him at 4.4 in the low 4.4s, right, or high 4.4s, I should say. And I mean, for a guy who's around 6'2", 6'3", around 215 pounds, right? And then once you get him into an NFL strength and conditioning program, his weight may fluctuate, right? It may go up a little bit, it may go down a little bit. But for a guy with that kind of athleticism, who high points the ball as well as he does, he didn't have a lot of production. I think he had around 715 yards, give or take, at Pitt last year. So not a high production guy in college, but when you see the traits, all of the traits are there. Smooth mover, big body, high points the ball, can run every route on the route tree. And when he gets the ball, he's hard to bring down, similar to a AJ Brown, right? Who's a guy you got to face twice in that division anyway.
Yeah.
So you kind of that, and I'm not saying he's going to be that guy. What I'm saying is he has a very similar skill set, big hands,
That's a
tracks the
comparable.
ball well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I really liked him. He surprised me because I had him on tape. He plays more 4-4-4, 4-5-4-6.
Mhm.
So when you look at the tape, you're like, this guy doesn't really move that fast. But
Mhm.
then when you see how production and how productive he is when he high points the ball and how they use him at Pitt, I mean, an offensive coordinator is going to have a whole lot of fun with that guy.
You know who he reminds me of, actually? He kind of reminds me of Anquan Bolden. Just
That's a really good comp.
a physical guy that you really don't know how fast he is, but he's always open. And even more important, like you said, he's hard to bring down once he catches the ball.
Yeah.
So that could be a steal for whoever were to draft that young man. We've got about 3 minutes or so here. Got my good friend on Courtlandt Griffin, does a great job covering the NFL, one of the aspiring young scouts in our game. Also covers the Tennessee Titans. But I'm going to put you on the spot here. So in like 3 minutes or so, I'm going to ask you to pick at number 2 for the Commanders, or if you would trade up for Caleb or trade down, what would you do if you were Commanders brass?
Okay. Oh man. If I'm the Commanders, I'm gonna put on 2 different hats here, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna put on a realistic hat, and then I'm gonna put on what Courtlandt Griffin would do if he were the GM.
Yeah.
The realistic hat is that you take the most pro ready quarterback that you can,
Mhm.
right? Whether that be Drake May, whether that be Caleb Williams, whether that be Jaden Daniels. If I had to pick between the two of the guys who are not the consensus number one,
Right.
I would say I'm picking Drake May. The reason is not that I don't like Jaden Daniels, but it is a growing pain of a Lamar Jackson, right? Very similar builds, very similar skill sets, right? I think Jaden's a better passer than Lamar was coming out of Louisville. But I think if you're the Washington Redskins, you do not want to wait until that guy matures as a passer, right? You want a guy that can kind of maximize the Terry McLaurins and the Jahan Dotsons and the Diami Browns that you have on the roster already. So I definitely would look at taking him. Now, Courtlandt Griffin, on the other hand, would trade back. And the reason that I think that you trade back is because you can find very comparable talent in these later rounds, and you can get a treasure trove for a team that, like the Raiders or the Vikings, that are looking to trade up to get one of those pro-ready guys, right? So a team that's way more hungry for a quarterback, I'm gonna, and I think I told you this, you and Candy this late at the combine. I'm okay with riding with Sam Howell for another year if it means building the roster around the quarterback and getting your quarterback next year.
Get some
But
linemen. Get some linemen. Gotta get them.
yeah, right, and that's what I was going to say. If you trade back, let's say you trade back with the Vikings, who I believe is at 11,
Mhm.
right? You're still in play for one of those top tackles, probably a Talise Fuaga out of Oklahoma State,
Mhm.
right? And then you're also going to get, like I said, this treasure trove of picks. You get maybe a first next year, which gives you 2 firsts next year. And then on top of that, you can go and get that receiver. You can go and get, maybe some more offensive line depth, maybe another edge rusher, because you did trade both of your starting edge rushers last year. So you need to replenish that room as well. And then also, you may trade for, dare I say, you may put a package together with that first you get in 2025. Instead of waiting until 2025, you may package that together with another group of picks and go get a Brian Burns from Carolina, who seems like
Like
he's
that.
a long-term deal is probably
Not happening.
not happening. It's probably more likely to not happen than it is to happen. So definitely some things in play here for Adam Peters and the Washington Commanders.
Absolutely. So now I'm going to let you put something together for your team, the Tennessee Titans, who you cover.
Oh man, this is where it gets fun for me. What's different for the Tennessee Titans is you do need a tackle, you do need a wide receiver, and I think you just have to pick what is more important to you. I think a wide receiver is more important here for this team. Haven't had one since A.J. Brown left, which has been now about 3 seasons. Treylon Burks has been injury prone, and DeAndre Hopkins is older. He's getting older, right? Turns 31. Well, it'll be 32 when the season comes into play. So I think now you're looking at maybe a Rome Odunze at 7, right? You're looking at maybe a Malik Neighbors at 7, but I think Rome Odunze is the guy that you pick. He has a lot of that DeAndre Hopkins. He has a lot of the makeup of a Larry Fitzgerald, right? Very mature guy. And you can tell that he's been very well coached, up in Washington from that camp that they've had where they spit out a bunch of NFL ready talent. So I definitely would look, if I'm the Titans, going wide receiver and then getting my tackle in round 2.
Man, see, you didn't surprise me. I knew you were going to do this when you came on, and I told our audience that I had a young guy that was coming on that they really needed to remember his name because he's definitely someone that's going to be doing this for a long time. Brother, I told you at the combine. I'm going to say it right here in front of my audience. I'm more impressed today than I was last week, and I was super impressed last week. So, you're my guy, and anything I can do to help you, man, we're going to do this thing. So, listen, had a great time in Indy. Great catching up with you. Appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna have you on quite a bit because as we approach the draft, which is coming up, you're coming to the forefront. So I'm gonna have you on here quite a bit. So appreciate you coming on, man.
Man, I'm looking forward to it late, man, and to all the Commanders faithful. Follow me on my social medias, VC Griffey. I definitely will have a draft profile coming out here soon for you guys. Is actually my next draft profile that'll be coming up. So if you follow me on Twitter, go to the3pointconversion.com. You can catch that article there, or you can follow me on my social media sites and you can catch the link and read it there. It's going to be really fun to break down this Washington Commanders front office and the draft picks and see what guys I have mocked for you.
Absolutely. So, as always, people, I appreciate you joining the podcast today. We had some great guests coming on a little bit earlier. Anthony Armstrong, former Redskins receiver number 13. We had Dr. George Garbis and Iron Wildy come on from Thermopact. They've got that innovative mouth guard that's getting ready to make headway around the league, and it serves a great point, helps prevent concussions as well as it changes colors as far as showing the player's body temperature. So that's important as well. And then, of course, the young guy right here doing just an awesome, outstanding job, Courtlandt Griffin. You heard him plug his social medias, and we'll have this up. You can watch this podcast on YouTube. You can subscribe to it on every podcast carrier if you want it in audio form. And then, of course, you can go to sportsjourney.com for more information. And then, of course, you'll be seeing me on ABC coming up, breaking down the Commanders as always. So, again, folks, have a safe evening, and we'll check you out real soon. Appreciate you coming on, Courtlandt. Take care, my friend.
Thank you.